everyone, it's Michael with Long Way Travels, and we're going to do an Award Flight 2023 business class review. For the year of 2023, I took actually 4 business class flights. We're going to go over them right now. So my first ever business class flight, I was aboard Air France, and I went from Atlanta to Paris, and a subsequent round trip flight from Zurich, connecting to Paris and to Atlanta, and that was in April 2023. Unexpectedly, in August, I took a business class flight from San Francisco SFO to Incheon, South Korea on United Polaris business class flight. 12 hours in the sky, and it was an amazing experience. Flying back home, a little bit interesting. I flew starting with South Korea ICN to Paris, France, aboard the new Air France Redesigned business class on the Boeing 777. And lastly, during the Thanksgiving holidays, I just recently took a flight from ITA Airways and their business class product from Milan, Italy to New York, JFK. For this video, I'm going to discuss the points, the cash, all that great nonsense on how it was booked and everything I paid out of pocket as well, because remember, it's not free travel. But that's what I want to make sure everyone understands with this video review. I will discuss the value I receive and also preview my potential and book flights for 2024. Remember, if you like that kind of content, slap that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, let's get to the chase. Disclaimer, while I did notate my first ever business class flight from Atlanta to Paris and Zurich and back and forth, I will not discuss the points because I did break down it in a previous video, which I will show here. But I will discuss the overall experience of being on that flight from Air France. Being my first business class flight, it was an experience of a lifetime. It was so awesome. The lie flat seat, the service was incredible. And being an overnight flight is a must if you want to fly luxury, and I definitely recommend, especially if it's over 6 hours. The customer service on this round trip flight was tremendous. The food and dessert was tasty, and worlds apart you would receive on premium economy or even economy. The configuration of the 1-2-1 format for this business class flight is very important, as it gives privacy to solo travelers on the left and right side of the plane, and just enough leg room and privacy for couples in the middle. The layout of the slide being slightly slanted basically provides a much easier experience when you're sleeping, and you will see in another video why I'm really specifically pointing that out. The seat overall had definitely more than enough room from our 5'6" frame, and definitely if you were even 6 feet and above, you definitely could have lying flat and sleep just as comfortable. And if you like alcohol and those kind of stuff, business class flight is the way to go, as you can get seconds, and they actually don't even care. My favorite dish was the beef tenderloin. It was so juicy and tender, and I would definitely recommend that going forward if you ever fly to Paris. Overall, I cannot complain. It was a great experience, and because of that, I felt primed to do more going forward. So to me, it's like I say, with all these luxury flights, I would never really pay for this flight out of pocket, but that is the reason why we're in the points and miles game, and that's why we do the travel hacking. Let me know everyone's comments on that experience on this flight. So let's move on to my flight from United Polaris business class, and I want to make this note. This is actually my first experience of not getting a flight directly from where my home base is, and this is the reality of the points and miles game, where you have to book a positioning flight. And I had to book one the day or two before my actual flight, and I flew Atlanta to San Francisco, which came out to under $500 for 2 people. So I want to make sure that's a real cost shown for real people and not free travel. We also spent a night at the Grand Hyatt SFO, which I did end up paying out of pocket and saving my points, and that stay cost me about $321. You can see my total is just under $1,000 already out of pocket. Well, as for the food, because I was a Globals at Hyatt, we were able to leverage all of our food at the hotel. We didn't have to pay anything for that. When we got free lounge food, as I've shown here, and also I got free breakfast the day before, the day we left basically. And also remember, with business class flights, you get free access to airport lounges such as the United Polaris Lounge as well. So on for the actual flight, I used Chase points, which I then used, and I booked it through Aeroplan, and that's how I got the United flight. Remember, Chase, money-making credit card issuer, and also remember, United and Airplane are Star Alliance partners, so you can use their points interchangeably in booking award flights. The flight cost me 75,000 Aeroplan points at about $74 Canadian dollars. Cash price was about just over $3,325. Reference to CPP, it was about 4.4. And also interesting too, as I've mentioned, I think in one of my really good advice is that it was a last-minute flight. I booked this on July 24th. The departure date of early August. So you can see you can definitely take advantage of last minute deals if you are that kind of traveler. So let's talk about the flight experience. Comparing Air France to United Polaris, we're all different. You can see the cabin in general. Once when you get inside, the cool, dark interior really made a nice kind of, I guess, relaxed feeling in my opinion. Same 1-2-1 configuration which you need in business class flights. And if you notice it when you're walking, it's a little bit more narrow. I really had a hard time getting to my seat, and also just when you get into the seat, it's a little kind of, I want to say kind of angled out, so you kind of have to kind of squeeze in. Otherwise, the feel, the seat, all nice, modern, fresh look, really nice colors. And if you do, like I said, if you like to fly solo left and right, depending on which side you are, there's gonna be more private because the way the seat kind of sticks out and in, so you gotta choose wisely on that. And for the middle seats, it was awesome too, because even if you weren't a couple, there's a partition door in the middle that separates you from basically the middle seat with the left and right side. So that was really nice of United Polaris to have. And as I mentioned, as a spoiler, the lie flat seat actually is very straight compared to Air France where it's kind of angled. And so if you're kind of if you like to sleep a little bit, you know, move around like that with your legs, this was not going to be a very comfortable flight because of the fact that it's very straight. You're not going to get as much room extending your legs out. And being a foodie, the food was fine. The barbecue chicken was kind of interesting. Actually, I felt like I got more value and more enjoyable from the actual everything after dinner, which cheesecake was tremendous. Grilled cheese and tomato soup after hours was great. Otherwise, overall, tremendous customer service as usual from United Airlines, and I really loved the experience of flying this flight. So let's move on to my third flight, and this is from South Korea to Paris, France. And you're thinking, why didn't I just go back to US? Well, one thing about last minute flights is sometimes it can be a little bit hard. And from my personal experience, I'm finding actually award flights to your destination is much easier, but getting back to the USA is really super hard. And the reasons I couldn't find a direct flight from South Korea to America, even from the West Coast. So I had to kind of pivot and go from South Korea to Paris, from Paris to New York via North Airways, kind of weird, huh? And then taking another domestic flight back to Atlanta. Overall, it was a very tiring experience. I flew almost 20 hours in the sky. And that's because when you fly from Asia or you're back to the United States, you gain time. So for example, Europe is about 6, 7, 8 hours ahead of USA, and Asia can be from 8 to 12 hours ahead from America. So that's the reason why I literally flew almost 24 hours in the sky across so many flights in one day. As for the Air France flight, there are some pros and cons. First of all, let's talk about what I paid. I paid 70,000 Air France points, which I booked directly on the site. And also, I didn't have any tax and fees, so that's a good thing right there. The cash price was just shy of $3,000, which came out with a CPP of just 4.1. So not bad for a last minute flight, if I agree. So as I mentioned in the spoiler that I flew Air France business class on this Boeing 777, and it was a new redesigned product. It was a great experience, and I really liked the configuration. And also, I really thought this was the best business product I've flown. So nothing against ITA Airways, but I love the fresh new white color, the modern design, the awesome Air France logo, and yes, that partition door. That partition door really made a difference because everyone in the seat got it, not just middle, but left and right all over. And lastly, product layout 1-to-1. You need that for privacy. And also with this new redesign, as I've mentioned in my videos, the first rows, like rows 1 and 9 of the business class cabin, are bulkhead seats, and you definitely take advantage of grabbing those seats, because now Air France does charge you to pick your own seats ahead of time, and it's worth the $100 or $200 it is, and it's definitely recommended if you can grab it. So make sure when you book your ticket, you pick your seat early and see if the bulkhead seats are available. Going into the seat, lie flat seat was great, same angle design, I loved it, got a great amount of sleep. Some features included the wireless Bluetooth for the earbuds was great as well. I really enjoyed that. I don't really prefer to use their own headphones sometimes. One con obviously was there was no Wi-Fi for a plane with a great design, so that was a really bummer, especially being in the sky for over 10 hours. Overall, the food was great. I think they just do a very good combination of food, salad, and meats for appetizers. The Korean chicken wasn't that great, but like I said, after hours is the key. I got the quiche, tasty and fluffy. Ramen noodles at night. Who doesn't want ramen noodles late night to enjoy watching a movie? And then of course, pasta in the end. Always finish it off very nice as well. The biggest con, obviously, and it's kind of weird, don't hear it a lot from Air France, but the customer service here, 2 different instances where they told me to stop filming, even though I definitely told them that I would not be filming any passengers or the crew. It's a personal experience for myself and to show really my experience to the world, and I was really excited to do it. And 2 times, especially during my last meal service, they told me to shut down my camera, and I was kind of very annoyed. So ITA Airways was my last business class flight, and I flew from Milan, Italy to New York JFK. And let's talk about how I paid for this. I've used 75,000 Virgin Atlantic points. Mostly I got from my Capital One account. and also some leftover points as well from a canceled Japan flight. Total cost actually was very cheap. It was under $100 for 2 people, and the cash price actually was just shy of $4,000, which my CPP actually was about 5 cents per point, and I really felt like I got great value off what I paid for points and the cash price. We started pretty bad, 2-hour delay straight from Milan there, and it was really important because that 2-hour delay really affected my connecting flight from JFK to Atlanta, and luckily I still made it on time, but that's a really big bummer. And also the Milan airport was very disappointing. Being a major city in Italy, basically the second biggest one, small airport, no business class lounge for me as a business class traveler, so definitely a total bummer, and highly recommend if you're going to take ITA, do it from Rome because it's the hub in the internal city and you're going to get great enjoyment overall. Product itself, it was dated. It was on, I believe, one of the older A planes, I believe, and yeah, I did not like it. The leather was nice and all, nice colors, but overall the product looked old, weird lamplight kind of thing going on. The tray table doesn't look that great. Just overall, I didn't feel luxurious. I didn't feel like $1,000,000. As noted, it was still the 1-to-1 configuration. Less privacy on some seats, more on some other seats. Same with the middle, left, and right as well. Other than the basic amenities, which you've seen, if anyone's flown a business class flight, pillows, toothbrush, blanket, all that stuff, the biggest con really was the seat, the lie flat seat that I mentioned in my recent video here, that if I'm 5'6" and I could barely fit, meaning that if you're basically 5'10" and above, you actually couldn't lie all the way flat on the seat, and that's really a problem for a flight you either paid out of pocket or even used points. Customer service was actually probably one of the best traits of the flight. I had no issues. They were always attentive to me. The food overall was great too, especially if you like Italian food. You know, risotto and ravioli were great, tasted great. I didn't have any issues with that. Dessert and snacks were great as well. I mean, overall it was a great experience, just really subpar with the overall seat, which is something I don't ever mention a lot these days. So my overall impression is that flying these award flights is kind of the reason why we're in the points and miles game. Second, when it comes to award flights, generally, like I said, you're gonna get greater value over domestic. And as you can see with my flights here, I like to get at least 4 cents per point. Kind of gives you a good gauge of your value and see if it's a good use of your points and miles in the credit card game. And lastly, if you really want to maximize your points, well, I didn't do in these flights, but I did do them in my upcoming segment, always be flexible and always try to book early as possible. And to conclude, while I didn't have this experience, when you're looking for award flights, especially business class flights, always go with the 1-to-1 format because 1 means 1 on the side, 2 in the middle, and 1 on the side. All that really means is that you have easy access to the aisle, and definitely you want to use that to your advantage because if you need to go to the restroom, you don't want to bother someone, then that's why. Think about it. If you get a 2-2-2 format, like a 2-2, basically 2 on the sides, then every time you're on the window, you have to get out to get to the bathroom, it's going to cause kind of a little annoyance on the person sitting next to you. So always look for those and use, like I said, a tool such as SeatGuru to confirm the seating configuration of your flight. So let's move on to 2024, and I've got one current flight slated that I have booked, and then I am booked for ANA's first class flight to Japan on May 2024. How did I book this? I paid 85,000 Virgin Land points, and I transferred it via ANA, and I got it. It cost me about $200 tax and fees, and if you want to go that cash price, that's over $10,000, and the cents per point for that is 17. This is one of ANA's sweet spots to book via Virgin Atlantic to get great redemption on your points and miles. The reason why I haven't completed this is because I plan on going to the French Open right after my Japan trip, so I am still eyeing my flights, and with no transfer bonus that I really like right now, I'm just considering my options and waiting until January to book them, regardless if there is any, just because the time is getting very close. And if I do, I will use the excess amount of American Express I just earned from my Amex Business Gold sign-up bonus. And lastly, for this trip, the third leg, I'm already got my eyes set on booking JetBlue Mint Suite, which is a product I really want to try. And I think it's probably one of the best domestic carriers that has a business class product. And so I definitely want to try that out. And that is my plan to book that from Europe to America back home. Otherwise, that's what I got going forward for 2024. I may squeeze in a flight maybe in the springtime or maybe late fall, but if I do, I will let everybody know. So I've got to end this video, and I want to know everyone's thoughts on what do you think about redemptions. How did I do? What you all think? Did I do a good job? Have you done any award redemptions? Have you gotten great value or even great experience overall? Please let me know in the comments below. And I did want to point out this. If anyone is having any trouble or you need any assistance, please let me know. I'm willing to help out. Reach out via my email, through my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram as well. Feel free to DM me and let me know if you need any help. I can definitely give out pointers, strategies I've used, search tools, stuff like that. Don't mind in the travel points game. So remember, like I said, make sure to like, subscribe, share this content going forward. I'm blessed to be in the travel points game, and I say in all my videos, life is short, travel more everyone. And also, feel free to stick around for some clips from my one-day trip in Amsterdam. Otherwise, have a good day everyone.